welcome to Racing in Queensland. I'm your host Jesse McDonald. What a pleasure it is having you on board for what is a great show. So tune in tonight as we have plenty coming up. This show we're previewing the Doomben 10,000, the Grand Prix, the Premier's Cup and the Chief De Beers. And remember, if you get out to Doomben tomorrow, you can get your photo with Chief De Beers. As well, we have interviews with the chairman of Albion Park, Kevin Seymour, about the outlook of the harness industry, and with the new government and chairman of the Queensland Racing, the positive outlook it's taking. As well, Darren Condon joins us as the new CEO of the BRC, and we discuss the carnival and the influx of the Kiwi horses over the carnival, which is making it for a very exciting and competitive racing. And congratulations to Kirsty Morgan on winning tomorrow's tickets to the Doomben 10,000 with the correct answer to the question, which Melbourne Storm player rode track work for Gai Waterhouse? And the answer there was Billy Slater. So stay with us during the program where you will have the chance to win free tickets to the Oaks next week, and here they are, so tune in and the question will be coming up. So now we're about to preview race 5, the Grand Prix, and joining me is our usual suspects, Larry Cassidy, our 3-time premiership winning jockey, and welcome Larry.
Thanks Jess, great to be back on what looks to be a great day's racing at Doomben. It
looks to be a very competitive day, and you have not the best book of rides, but a very handy ride, and you could ride a few winners.
Yeah, look, I got 6 rides, and obviously I'm not in the main race or the Grand Prix, but a couple have drawn nice and hopefully get their chance.
And our other member of the panel is form expert Ben Donohue. Welcome, Ben.
Yeah, Jess, Larry, good to be here, boys, and big 8 event card on the weekend. Looking forward to it, the 10,000, the Grand Prix.
So tell me, how was Hawaii?
Fantastic, bit of downtime. I did get the shakes knowing that there's some good racing on in Brisbane, but back in full swing, looking forward to tomorrow.
Did you stay tuned with it while you're over there?
Yeah, look, I tuned into a few Pat O'Shea calls at Toowoomba, no, really looking forward to tomorrow, and I think we've got a few winners.
Now race 5, the Grand Prix over 2200. Here I like number 3, Vata Vive from the Peter Moody stable. I think this will be very hard to beat by Reset. It's a Dow stayer, and I think the 2200 is going to suit it right down to the tree. It'll run it out very strongly, and with Luke Nolan on board, I'm tipping it on top. For second, I like number 14, Eurivale, and number 2, Brambles. As well for your pick 4, number 5, Sora. So I like 3, Vatavui from 14, 2 and 5. Ben, what do you come up with?
I think it's Vatavai, Jess. Manu Vatavai, the New Zealand Warriors big winger. Big field, tough race. I'm going to go with Riley as well, punters. I thought his win at Rose Hill was quite tenacious. Snowden brings it up to Queensland, gets a bit of that sun. It's going to be hard to beat from a very, very good draw there in Gate 1. I'm going to put in Largo de Barra as well, punters. Johnny Sargent, he nominated this horse during the week at the Gold Coast, elected not to run. He's going to the Grand Prix. This is his derby horse, I'd suggest. I think he'll be running on. Soros for Moody, a very strong win in Melbourne last start, and Brambles was very tough. My only concern, punters, with Brambles is it just knocked off margins. It was a 60-70 1 shot that day, Jess, and I just don't know about that form. But Riley from Largo de Barra, Soros and Brambles. Larry?
Yeah, look, I'd probably go with Vadavai, but I think if you just look at the Moody runners, I don't think you'll go far wrong. But I think the fillies are much better than the Colts and Geldings this year.
Right, interesting their outlook. Right now, I think Reset. He's been a good stallion. He hasn't stepped up to the mark like I thought he would. But I think this horse could be definitely one of Moody's Derby's horses, and I think it'll be very hard to beat, and it will run the distance very strongly. Now we're going to go with an interview where I caught up with Darren Condon during the week, the COO of the BRC. Joining me is Chief Operating Officer Darren Condon from the Brisbane Racing Club, and welcome, Darren.
Thank you.
Now tell me, Darren, how are sales coming along over the carnival?
Look, the carnival's been tremendous sales-wise this year. We focused really heavily on Doomben Cup Day and Oaks Day this year, and we've been able to increase sales year on year for those two. And if you look at 2010, when we didn't have Black Caviar, our sales are more than double. We're more than $50,000 up on our Ticketek sales there, and our corporate sales have increased as well. So with a touch of luck and good weather, we hope that our carnival still see an increase year on year, even though we had Black Caviar planning to run and did run on 2 of the days last year.
What do you put down the success to the increase in sales?
Look, I think our marketing strategy is starting to really sink in now with having the 5 days targeting different audiences. You know, Doomben Cup Day as the family day has grown significantly and will continue to grow, we believe. And Oaks Day, the ladies' day, is also showing growth. And of course, our traditionally strong race days for the racing fans, 10,000 Day and Stradbroke Day, are getting even better. And if you have a look at our sales as we build up to that grand final Super Saturday of Stradbroke Day, that's exactly how the growth in sales is coming along.
There's been such an influx of interstate and overseas horses, mainly from New Zealand. How's that come along, and what brought on the idea of the influx?
Well, look, it goes back a long time ago. The QTC and the BTC many years ago started targeting the Kiwis. The Kiwis worked out, like Tommy Smith did many years ago, Queensland's a great place to be at this time of year and horses thrive. And we just wanted to strengthen that alliance and that challenge between ourselves and the Kiwis. The Australians and the Kiwis love to compete. It's interesting when you get internationally, they're the best of mates, but across the ditch we like to compete and we like to see who's best. So we've gone back to targeting those Kiwi horses and getting them across here for the Australasian Challenge. And I think this year we'll have record numbers from New Zealand across. We've already had 2 plane loads land and there's another one expected. And that's great for our carnival, great for the visitors, and of course we still get plenty from interstate. And this year we're probably going to have close to record numbers from WA as well. So whilst the Australasian Challenge didn't bring as many horses as we hoped, it certainly highlighted our carnival, we believe, and increased the numbers from different areas for us.
Well, Darren, it's an absolutely brilliant day today, and hopefully you can back a winner.
Yeah, hopefully we can. Look, I'd just be happy the racing's great and as good as the weather, and we have a great attendance today. That's the main aim. I'm really looking forward to the carnival because, you know, seeing the great horses, the great riders, and watching great racing's hard to beat, and the atmosphere is just electric.
Well, Darren, thanks for joining us on Racing in Queensland, and hopefully have you on the show again soon.
No worries.
Hello and welcome back. Now we're going to preview the Premier's Cup. Ben, what do you like?
Second leg of the quaddie punters. Good luck if you're alive, I say. Einstein on top for mine, gate 1. I mean, anything can win this, Larry.
Yeah.
You're on Warrior Within. Your brother's on Cannon Costa. Punters, I suggested Fantastic Blue a fortnight ago. I thought he ran home resolutely. He's got his hoof on the till. I got no idea. Einstein on top from Fantastic Blue, and I'll throw in Cannon Costa. And I'll throw in Warrior Within for 4th, Larry, for you.
Well, let's hope I can go a bit better than 4th. Yeah, he is a Grafton Cup winner, and he's slowly finding his form, so he's got a good gait. I think he'll run a good race, and what is a very open race. You could run this race 10 times and get a different winner every time.
Yeah, no, it is definitely a tricky race. But I've found one here, punters, down at the bottom. You know, I like the bottom weights here. I like number 16. Murasana, is that correct, Ben?
Murasana, I think you've gone on the money there.
There we go. Now, that's the one I like with Kay McAvoy on board, the Mike Moroney train, the Brew, the Melbourne Cup combination. It's coming back and it's going to bit of deja vu at Doomben tomorrow. I like this horse. It's only been beaten 6.5 lengths in a Group 3 over in France. Now, that form over the 2500, how that form measures up over here, you'd say that form would almost be good enough to take this race out. You know, it's not a classic group race, but you know, with that sort of form line, if it finds form, only beaten 2.3 lengths behind Angel of Mercy, yeah, you've got to say that's pretty good form for this sort of race.
Yeah, I don't know how Angel of Mercy would go in this race, but Murasana was caught 3 and 4 wide the trip. It's either going to do 2 things. It's either going to improve out of sight, or it's going to be stuck back in the field. And
I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to tip it to improve out of sight. Number 16, number 1, Ben Einstein. I like your horse there. It was a good run last start. Now this horse is a Dow stayer. He loves it. He loves coming up to Brisbane. He's won over here. He's won at the track. He's won at I think he's won at the distance as well from the Gerald Ryan stable. He does improve up here. And number 2, absolutely for 3rd. And our faithful 50-1 winner from the first show, Hume. He'll be running home, but I think the barrier's got him beat here, barrier 18. And Larry, just mentioning, if you were drawn wide, you sort of haven't got much of a chance here.
Yeah, we see a lot of horses will punch up and hold their spot getting down to that first corner, and a horse like Hume's probably got to go back. So whether he's given him too much start, but just depends on the tempo up front, really.
Now, you would have seen the interference caused by Marwingo to Managar. He did absolutely smash Managar. Now, we seem to have a different opinion here when it comes to protests, but how did you see the interference?
Look, it certainly cost Managar. It cost him a length and a half. But it was at the winning post first time round, or just after the winning post. But what people have got to remember, Managar then actually raced with his head in the air after that, so it actually cost him a little bit more. Had the margin been, within half a length, I'm sure the stewards would have upheld that very quickly.
Yeah. And Ben, what do you think?
I had a very small wager on my Wingo all the way from Hawaii, mate, so I was happy with the result.
Yeah, no, I was disgusted with the result. My best bet was Managar, and I plonked it and I got burnt. And thanks, Nash, cost me plenty. We also tipped it on the radio, but had that interference not occurred and he punches up and he's sitting third on the running rail behind the leader, he's going to be hard to beat. I think he wins the race.
Yeah.
But anyway, like you said, Larry, the distance was just too great to uphold.
The start at the 2200 at Doomben, Larry, if you're caught wide, you can't get in, you're stuffed?
Yeah, if you don't get in before the winning post, sometimes you've got to work too hard.
Yeah.
And even if you come back, you're still going to be deep unless you come back to last.
Yeah.
And then you've wasted too much petrol coming back.
Yeah, of course.
That's right.
If Managar doesn't get that interference, the whole complexion of that race changes.
That's right. Absolutely.
He ends up box seat where the winner was.
So he probably wins. Now there's plenty of news abroad with Frankel returning to winning after a bruised tendon, and he did it in glorious fashion. Now he's rated at 142 and Black Caviar's rated at 137. Now Black Caviar's had 21 wins straight. She's won 11 Group 1s, 7 Group 2s. This horse has only won 6 Group 1s. How's it rated below Frankel?
European rater.
I'd suggest that there's some bloke sitting at the back of Swindon or Notting Hill doing the time form, Larry. Perhaps he hasn't seen enough of Black Caviar.
I think he's probably never heard of Black Caviar.
Never heard of it. You're right.
He's probably tasted it and that's it. But if the two met, it depends what distance they run over. I'm a patriotic person. She wins hands down.
Yeah, I agree. I think they race over 1400. She wins over a mile. Questionable.
Look, I think she'd beat him over a mile. She'd just tag him the whole way and just pounce. I think she'd be too good. She's the best I've ever seen.
Yep, no, she's brilliant. Also, Hortensia settled in well over there. She's the third favourite behind Fox Wedge as well. Ato won the Chris Flyer over in Singapore, the Group 1 over there, which is South African bred and trained, and was ridden by another South African jockey. Now we're going to go to a commercial break, and after the commercial, we're going to preview the Doomben 10,000, and we have an interview with Kevin Seymour, the chairman of Albion Park.
The carnival is glamorous fashion and Group 1 glory.
My chance to take centre stage.
The carnival is Australia and New Zealand's test match for horse racing.
This Saturday is one of Queensland's favourite race days, the Carlton Mid Doomben 10,000 Day.
Racegoers keep coming back for the stunning Westfield Chermside fashions on the field, live entertainment and first-class racing. Get your tickets through Ticketek or visit vrc.com.au.
Now, the Doomben 10,000. This is a huge race, race 7 over the 1350. This is a big race, and Ben, what do you like?
Yeah, good field, tough field punters. Where do you start? Is Buffering on song? I'm not sure. Sea Siren, does she back up? We might see if Jimmy's giving you any inside word there. Beated, improved performance last start. Does she go on with the job? I thought Warren was sneaking home nicely at the end of his last run. Punters, I'm going to put him on top. Spirit of Boom, Jess, I know we spoke in the break. You reckon his record's are atrocious at Doomben, but again, I thought he was running home nicely. Sistine Angel, from Morphettville to Brisbane. I just like mares coming to Queensland in a little bit of form. I think they can go on and improve. And I'll put Pinwheel in for fourth. Warren from Spirit of Boom, Sistine Angel and Pinwheel. If you get the first four, you'll be a multimillionaire.
Now, Larry, you haven't got a ride, but maybe you got a bit of insight with Sea Siren and Jimmy.
Yeah, look, Jimmy spoke to me before the BTC Cup, and he said he thinks she's pretty good, but he thought he thought she was one run short the other day, and look, she brained them. She ran fantastic time. So it's just whether that run took too much out of her. But I'm sticking with her and sticking with the brother Pumper.
Yeah. Well, he's
back-to-back Group 1.
He's ridden plenty of Group 1s. There's no doubting his ability when it comes to the big race day. He knows what it takes to win the big races. Now here I've found a special Wooram. I think this is a good bet. It's a tricky race, hard race, but geez, he had 4 starts at the track and distance for a win, 2 seconds, a third. He loves a little bit of sting out of the ground. You know, Robbie Heathcote, he's in form. The horse just loves the track and distance, and he was getting home last start. He's only beaten 6 lengths.
Jess, I think we forget, and it only happened how many starts ago? 5 starts. He won an Oakley Plate.
All right, that's right.
Yeah, if they're going like last week's pay, which they will, Adebisi will pile it on. Muntz only knows one direction with it.
Yeah.
It could just be steaming home over the top of them.
And that was a day, he did make up ground. I know he got beat 6 lengths, but he did make up ground on a day that it was very difficult to make up ground.
Yeah, right.
So that is a good pointer.
And he's drawn 2, so he's going to just pop straight out the back without, losing any ground. And then right on board with the fast pace, which will suit him down to the ground. He's going to be steaming home, and I think he'll be there at the finish. I think Sea Siren, like Larry mentioned, with Jim Cassidy on board, it's got all the credentials here. A 3-year-old filly that's in flying form by Fastnet Rock. It's had 1 start at the distance, only for a second. She's got all the credentials. The extra 150, it could be a bit of a question, but Fastnet Rock, John O'Shea, Jim Cassidy, geez, barrier 7. It's got all the credentials. It'll be there, no doubt about it. 11 Beat It. I like this horse for third. Now, I don't like potting anyone, but I just don't think this horse goes for Kieran McAvoy like it does. I think it might run better for Mark Zara. Mark Zara's won a Group 1 on this horse. I think she's a funny horse like that. I think, like Gerald Ryan mentioned, the only horse that went for Monmecki was Paul Hammersley, and I think this horse Beat It might be the same. She might be funny with jockeys, and I think with Mark Zara on board might be a pointer. She's had 2 starts at the track at the distance for 2 wins. I think she's going to be very hard to beat, and not like Ben, you mentioned 2 weeks ago on the show, that there's going to be some mare that'll come out of it that'll find form and go right on with it.
I just don't know where Beat It gets to in the run. Adebisi will lead, Buffering's drawn inside Beat It. It's going to come across and probably sit outside Adebisi.
Yeah, look, she has got good speed, so I think Mark would be pretty positive on her to get across.
Before, haven't you?
Yeah, I ran 3rd on her 3 years ago in the Winter Stakes, which is the Tiara.
Yeah.
And look, she's got good gate speed, so he can use her, get across, and then take a sit and get a bit of a breather.
Yeah.
She is a class horse.
She's totally a class horse, and I like for 4th Buffering, but I'm going to pot one here. I'm going to pop Buffering. I just think he can't win. He's had 2 starts at the distance for nothing. He's had the injury. He's had that little setback, which I just don't think you can go into these Group 1s with a little setback and win. I just think there's too many good horses on form. I think it's too hard to, when you're playing test match, any sort of football, if you had an injury and you're coming back to play in that game, you're just going to struggle that little bit, It's that last 5 minutes of the game when it counts, when you're just going to be struggling, and I think Buffering just might be found out here. And I think Pampelone, one that down in the weights there could be a sneaky one that's owned by Alan Bell there. Now we're going to go to our interview where I caught up with Chairman of Albion Park, Kevin Seymour, during the week. Joining me is the Chairman of Harness Racing of Albion Park, Kevin Seymour, and welcome to the show, Kevin.
Thanks very much, Jesse.
Now, first of all, I'd just like to, how would you describe the current state of the harness industry in Queensland?
I guess probably the best way to explain it would be that it's highly optimistic. There's a new government, a new sense of optimism has developed in the industry, and we're looking forward to working with the government to enhance harness racing and make sure that it gets the optimum crowds and the optimum turnover.
With the new government, what's exciting about it from the previous one?
Well, I think all codes were certainly disillusioned with the previous government. We were probably a bit depressed with the activities that the government engaged in, and it's just like a breath of fresh air for the industry. Everyone's got a bit of a spring in their step now, and they're all keen to work together And I sort of emphasise that it is important that all codes work together for the betterment of the industry overall, and we'll all benefit in the long run.
Now, the Minister for Racing, Nick Dixon, the member of Budrum, he has stated that through the election process, the government has made commitments to building infrastructure. When will they be fulfilling those commitments?
Well, I mean, I can't tell you that. That's a matter for government, but the government is certainly pursuing, looking at all the developments, all the requirements that the industry's got, the infrastructure that is needed by both harness racing, greyhounds and galloping. And I'm sure that after that strategic review is done, that they'll come up with a plan and allocate a certain amount of capital for infrastructure spending.
Why wasn't the 16 million that was promised by the previous regime implemented into harness racing?
Oh, it's pretty simple. We had commitments from Bob Bentley, both in writing and verbally, that he would spend the $16 million at Albion Park and make it the long-term home of harness racing. Now, that wasn't honoured, and as a result of that, we instituted court proceedings. Those proceedings now have been going on for 12 months, and we have sued both Racing Queensland and Bob Bentley personally to ensure that we get what was committed to us and can go forward.
Now, you were going to get 14.5% return. What was your final return?
Well, that's something which hasn't been settled as part of the court case. The court case has been deferred until the 27th of May. Then it goes back for mention. Or the alternative could be that there could be a settlement reached. We're yet to find out what the outcome's going to be.
Now, just ongoing that, the previous regime did sign with Sky Channel prior. Why did they sign with Sky, unlike New South Wales, who withheld their position and waited for the court hearing?
Well, really, I don't know the answer to that, other than Bob Bentley would be probably most qualified to say why he made that decision. But it certainly didn't advantage the smaller codes, that's greyhounds or harness racing. We got nothing out of that deal at all, and we weren't even consulted.
How did you actually get involved in the racing industry, in the harness game?
That's an interesting thing. I guess probably if I go back to the start, I used to be employed at Albion Park as a ticket seller, and in that process I had mentioned to the chairman of stewards, Jack Gregg, that I'd like to own a horse at some stage. Anyway, on one evening he called me up and said, look, I've got a guy here from Sydney who wants to sell a horse. His name is Ken Cummings and he owns a horse called Crazy Chief. Well, I'd had $200 left over from, I was supposed to buy a lounge for my wife on the Friday, and I said to him, look, all I've got is $200. I can't afford to buy the horse right now, but I could pay for it next week. Would you sell the horse on $200 deposit? And he said, well, look, I'm quite happy if Mr. Gregg recommends you can have the horse and then you can pay me on Monday. And I said, that's good, but I'd want to change the driver. I'd want to put a Mr. Jack Southgate on the horse. He said, oh, well, if that's what you want to do, he said, that's okay. So the end of the story is that I put Jack Southgate on it. The horse won on the night, but in between times I'd slipped down the bookmaker's ring, and we used to have 70 bookies here at Albion Park, and I put the $200 on the nose and won $2,000. So I was able to go to him on the night and say, look, here's your money. I'll take the horse. I've got a free horse. But of course, then the big thing was I had to go home and tell my wife what I'd done. And I knew the response I'd get there. But all in all, that's how I got involved in harness racing.
And ever since, you've just had great success during the 40 years involved.
Well, sometimes you think you've had great success, but then when you look at the bank balance, it probably hasn't been such a great deal after all.
Well, Kevin, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, and hopefully you can join us over the coming months. And let's hope the new regime of Racing Queensland can improve the state of the industry.
Yeah, look, I've got great confidence in the new regime. You've got Kevin Dixon heading it up, who has got a good career in business. He understands racing. He's been around all the racetracks. I think he'll have a good rapport with everyone in the industry, contrary to what Bob Bentley had. I can remember Bentley saying to me, he said he set out to unite the industry. But he said the problem is I united it against me. So that was, the type of thing that we were enduring under the Bentley era. But under the Dixon era and the new government, I think it's all up for racing, the whole 3 codes, and if we stick together and work towards all these goals that we can kick over the next few years, it'll be a great industry.
Kevin Seymour, and it's great to see them have a positive frame of mind with the new chairman and the government heading it up. Now race 8, a tricky race, but we've narrowed it down here. The Chief De Beers over the 1100. I like 14 Rocker here from the Kelly Schveda stable. It's going to be hard to beat. It's a young up-and-coming horse again by the Boom sire, Fastnet Rock. I like 4 Seek and Find, owned by the Divines and trained. Who trains it?
Second fine,
Kelso Wood. And 6 Gundy Sun and 4 Excelentes from the Heathcote stable. Both of those 2 horses are going to be hard to beat. Ben, what do you come up with?
Just talking about Kelso, Punny had a good winner during the week, Signified. I think, I'm not sure where he goes to next, but very good horse in the making. Oh look, punters, in no particular order: Seek and Find, Excelentes, Gundy Sun and Rocker. I think if you take those 4, if you're alive in the last leg of the quaddie, you'll go very close. Havitress is a very good horse on its day. Paddy's Mate was a promising, not Paddy's Mate, Delago Bolt flew home first up, but I think if you stick with those 4, you'll go close.
Larry, you're riding Havitress?
Yeah, I'm on Havitress, and he's got a very good first up record. I was supposed to ride him about a month ago, but he had a minor setback. Obviously, Barry Baldwin's been happy with him, and he's drawn nicely. He's drawn to get a nice run, and look, I think he'll figure somewhere in the finish.
You know, his first up form's brilliant. He's had 4 starts, first up for 3 wins.
And he loves the track too.
Loves the track, and whether he's up to the class, but we'll find out tomorrow.
That's for sure.
Now, viewers, we've got plenty coming up. Now, just for those who are interested in winning 2 tickets to the Oaks, the question of the week: who was the last grade to win the Doomben 10,000? Now, the panel here, they didn't know, and we're still, I know. Well, I'll know after the show anyway when I get the emails and the right answer. Now, you can also follow us on Twitter at Horse Racing Queensland at Twitter. As well, next week, there's a huge plunge coming up. That's massive, and I'm going to be tweeting the name of this horse 5 minutes before it runs. So stay tuned on that, and the only way you'll be finding out is by following us on Twitter. It's going to be a big plonk, and we're expecting it to win. Now, she galloped brilliant on the Tuesdays this morning as well. Now, that's about it. That's been a great show, and thanks to the panel for joining us, and thanks Ben and Larry.
Yeah, thanks boys, been great.
Yep.
And hopefully, punters, we've found plenty of winners for you. And next week, Shannon Eckstein is going to join us on the preview on the Stradbroke, and as well, we're going to have free ticket giveaways. Anyway, thanks for joining us, and join us next week, same place, same time. I'm your host, Jesse McDonald. Bye for now.